What's going on, people, and welcome back to another episode of the Premier League SPUR-SPECTIVE, where me and my brother will take a look at the weekend's games, give a bit of review, and then we're also keeping an eye on our predictions as well from Predict the Prem, where me and my brother go head-to-head on predicting Premier League outcomes. And at the moment, the scores on the doors are 381 to 373. And the way it works is 5 points for a correct scoreline, 3 points for a correct result, and both teams to score. 1 point for a correct result and the star man as well, which is 2 points for a goal, 1 point for an assist. And let's get straight into it with Arsenal against Manchester United, where Sim went for 2-2. I went for 3-2 to Man United, but it did finish 3-1 to Arsenal. And to be fair, I probably should have got 5 points in this game, but alas, it wasn't. It did finish 3-1 to Arsenal with some very controversial decisions on the day. I couldn't quite believe what I was seeing, to be honest.
There was a lot of incidents in this game. First of all, the opening goal for Arsenal, it wasn't an incident, but what awful defending that was from Man United, just like throwing lazy legs at crosses, and obviously they got off to the worst start. They went 2-0 up Arsenal with a very controversial decision. Apparently, I was reading Dale Johnson, he does this weekly VAR thread about explaining all the VAR decisions. It's very, very good. You should go check him out. And he says the reason why the penalty was given to Arsenal was because the referee actually played advantage to the foul for Saka, and so for that reason, because he already thought it was a foul, that's why he gave the penalty.
Arsenal's penalty.
Yeah, Arsenal's penalty. Rather than if you saw, for example, Anthony Gordon's penalty, you might argue that's just as much a penalty as Saka's one. But because the referee had already judged it to be a foul, all he was checking was if it was an offside for the goal for Nketiah. That's why he gave the penalty. So it wasn't a case of them thinking it was an error for the foul. So they gave that penalty. 2-0 Arsenal. United responded really well, got back in the game straight away. Ronaldo with a great goal. And United were on top pretty much for the next, I would say, 40 minutes or so, hitting the bar twice, hitting the post. And then they got their big moment with the penalty, didn't they? Yeah.
I just don't know why didn't Cristiano Ronaldo step up for that one. Like, in a pressure moment with everything surrounding the game and everything like that, surely Cristiano Ronaldo was the man to step up, and he was the man playing well as well.
Yeah, he was. And also, Ramsdale would have been the biggest villain if he saves a Ronaldo penalty, considering all the circumstances around that game. And he put in a masterful performance. He put in a masterful performance during the game, but unfortunately wasn't enough to get the points. United missed a host of chances. Arsenal then, against run of play, got a third goal. Granit Xhaka with a long range strike. Could argue was offside.
Could argue. I mean, it was offside, and Nketiah's miles offside, first of all, and second of all, he's definitely impeding the view of De Gea. I just don't get it. VAR looked at it and didn't give it.
VAR apparently adjudged that the distance between Nketiah and De Gea was so large that it didn't make a difference to his view, apparently. So they gave that goal. And Arsenal, after they went 3-1 up, they didn't really threaten to get back in the game, United.
And what about the Cedric penalty decision, where Cedric falls over and
that was at 1-0, I think.
And Peter Walton comes on the TV and goes, yeah, he falls over and the falling arm is protecting himself, so that's not a penalty. But that's not what happened. He falls over and he literally crawls to try and block the ball, and then he blocks it with his arm.
He deliberately impeded Sancho with his arm. That was a deliberate act, and that was a clear penalty. I think Arsenal massively got away with that as well. I understand if he's falling over and it hits his arm, that's not a penalty. That's not what happened. He could have easily got straight back up and allowed Sancho past him if that was the case, but he didn't. He crawled to try and keep pace with Sancho, deliberately tried to impede him, and stop the ball going past him with his arm. That's a clear penalty. Clear penalty.
And there was another one as well with the Ronaldo offside goal. I'm not sure. It was just dubious a bit because of the goal that was given last week. I think it was for Man City or so. I can't remember who it was. That looked like it was offside, but the lines were touching. Ronaldo, this one is even less offside than that one, and I felt like the lines were touching as well on the replay, and the goal's not given. Where's the consistency?
Because the lines weren't touching.
I thought that they were touching, though.
Apparently it was just off. That's what they said. It was
Yeah.
millimeters. It was a tight one, but they said the lines weren't touching. I'm not going to argue against it.
That's the least of my problems for that game anyway. The Xhaka goal and the Suarez penalty that wasn't given were the two main ones for me. Anyway.
Yeah, and I on another note though, I think Bruno was lucky to stay on the pitch. I think he could have easily been sent off.
Yeah, that's 2 games in a row he's done something similar and
Yeah.
stayed on the pitch as well.
Yeah, very lucky.
So he's got to watch himself a bit, Bruno. And Bruno has been putting in shocking performances, and I thought this one was no different.
He was awful, and he lost the ball for that third goal as well. Just dallying with it around the area, gets dispossessed, and Arsenal go on and score. So look, Arsenal ran out 3-1 winners in the end. A lot of controversy, a lot of luck involved, but the luck of the past 2 games has been falling for them. So
Exactly.
that's the most annoying thing.
Let's hope it can't last forever. Next up, Leicester against Aston Villa finished 0-0. Sim went 1-1. I went 2-1 to Leicester. So you get a point here. I mean, I didn't see much of this game, but didn't seem like it was a riveting game by any stretch of the imagination.
We were on our way to Brentford, so we didn't catch a lot of this game. But this definitely screams of end of season, nothing to play for kind of game, doesn't it? So both teams probably take a point. Leicester's happy not to lose because they've got European coming up. Villa stopping the rot of their losses. So both teams probably just took a point.
Next up, Man City against Watford. Finished 5-1 to Man City. I went 4-0. You went 3-0. So a point each here. Credit to Watford for getting on the score sheet, but it kind of went the way we expected, didn't it?
4 goals for Gabriel Jesus, and there's been a lot of talk recently about him going to Arsenal. And
good signing for
I think it would be a very good signing, especially the price they're talking about, like 25 million.
Yeah.
Like, very good price for a player of his quality. That would be a worrying signing. And Arsenal apparently has a very good relationship with Arteta, because obviously Arteta was there when as assistant when Jesus was there at City. So there's an existing relationship there. It sounds like obviously with Haaland coming, there's not going to be much room again for Jesus as there ever is. They didn't even have a striker, and there's still not much room for him. So I think Arsenal, if they could get a real top player who's 25 years of age, he's not young, but he's obviously coming into his prime years, or is in his prime years, and he has that. But I think he's got potential to at least be a 15 to 20 goal a season striker for sure. Starting week in, week out, I think technically he's very good. So I think that'd be a very worrying signing for if Arsenal were to get him.
Yeah, I agree with that one.
But looks like City, obviously top of the league again after that.
Yeah, they look like they're not going to give up this lead. I mean, anything can happen from now until the end of the season, but it looks like Man City just got that little bit more of the rub of the green with the easier fixtures from now until the end of the season, and they're going to need to drop points if Liverpool want to keep on this title charge. And it doesn't look like Man City are going to give up, are they? Do they?
No, definitely not.
Next up, Norwich against Newcastle. Both of us predicting 2-1 to Newcastle on day. It did finish 3-0 to Newcastle, and the Newcastle good form keeps on going. I mean, it was unbelievable to think that they had 7 points bottom of the league in December, and now they're sitting in 9th in the table.
Yeah.
Absolutely brilliant work from Eddie Howe. And it just shows like all this money, and they haven't even got to spend a lot of it yet, and they're already on really good form.
Well, another goal for Bruno Guimaraes. Lovely little chip finish, and there's a couple of really good finishes by Joel Linton as well. Yeah. In the second half, and obviously Newcastle ran out 3-0 winners and convincing, and now Norwich, I believe, if Burnley win and they lose their next game, they're down.
That's it. That's all their fate.
They're 10 points behind now with 5 games to go. So if Burnley win and they lose, that's it. It's over for them. Although Tim Krul today said he's not giving up hope, but I think that ship's probably sailed. But look, Newcastle ending the season strongly, clearly showing that they're fighting for Eddie Howe. Eddie Howe's doing a great job there, to be fair to him. Let's just hope they can get a result against Arsenal later in the season.
Yeah, let's hope so. Next up, Brentford against Tottenham, finished 0-0 on the day. We were both there, both predicted 2-1 to Spurs, but we didn't even have 2 shots on target, never mind 2 goals. But yeah, I think we've covered this game to the death, so we'll just swiftly move on from that. No points each for that one. As we move over to the Sunday games, Brighton against Southampton finished 2-2. Both of us went for 1-0 to Brighton. Quite a ding-dong battle at the Amex, wasn't it?
Yeah, Brighton went 2-0 up. Goals from Danny Welbeck and a weird own goal from Salisu putting them 2-0 up. But Ward-Prowse firing back with a classic free kick and a 25-yard pile drive, gaining a point for Southampton. So 2 teams just going at it. Looked like an end season. Brighton thought they were going to continue their good form, but were held back. But they didn't lose, so still unbeaten 4 now. Brighton having a decent end to the season.
No, didn't they lose their last game to Man City?
Correct. They're not unbeaten in 4, but haven't lost 4 out of their 5 at last 5, I guess. Which is pretty good considering they lost 6 in a row.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
not bad.
They've won 2 out of their last 4. Brighton.
For 2 draws.
2 draws, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, Burnley against Wolves, which finished 1-0 to Burnley. A massive result for Burnley in terms of the relegation battle. Both of us going for 1-1. But you got to give credit to Burnley, credit to the coaching staff there for turning it around somewhat. I mean, the form since Sean Dyche has gone has been fairly strong for Burnley, and Everton really look like they're in trouble with the fixtures they've got. And got to give credit to Ben Mee and the coaching staff there.
Yeah, unbeaten in 3 games. I think they've won 2 of them, drawn 1. Really impressive stuff for Burnley, turning it around since Sean Dyche has gone. Everyone said they were doomed after that, but maybe it's the catalyst they needed in an upturn in form. We'll see how they perform from now to the end of the season, because that's where the crunch time is. 5 games left, but it's a good start for them, and a very impressive, because Wolves are a difficult team, and to get the win against them is very, very impressive. And obviously Matej Vydra getting the winner, out the relegation zone for the first time in a while, so it's a bit psychologically that's big for them.
Chelsea against West Ham finished 1-0 to Chelsea. We both went for 2-0 to Chelsea, so 3 points each on that one. West Ham with a completely changed, well, I don't know if it was completely changed, but a much changed 11. Chelsea going back to basics with their starting lineup, and I thought West Ham put up quite a good fight in this one, which gave me a bit of hope going into the Arsenal game this weekend. But Craig Dawson gets sent off right at the end, which puts him out, and they have no fit centre-backs going into the Arsenal game. But they missed that penalty with a terrible penalty from Jorginho. Then Pulisic just about gets it right at the end for them.
Yeah, big sigh of relief, I think, for Jorginho at the end, getting the winner for Pulisic. But it was a drab game, really, throughout the 90 minutes from
That's
what I
West
saw.
Ham wanted it to be.
Yeah, they frustrated Chelsea for long periods. Chelsea didn't look like scoring before that red card. And that's a big miss now for West Ham. They're going to be without all 4 centre-backs, it looks like, next week, and making Arsenal's job all that easier, considering they have changes and no centre-backs. But maybe they can pull off a surprise, who knows? But Craig Dawson getting sent off is not good news for Tottenham.
Yeah, I'm not holding my breath for West Ham to do us a favour, that's for sure. But anyway, Merseyside derby up next. It finished 2-0 to Liverpool. Sim went 3-0, I went 4-0, so 3 points each on this one. And I thought Everton played well in this game. I thought Gordon was really, really exciting on that left-hand side for Everton. He had the beating of Trent and whoever else was on that right-hand side. And I genuinely thought Everton was looking like they were going to get something out of the game. But the more the game wore on, the more Everton kind of didn't make use of the good chances they were getting. Liverpool kind of just showed their quality and got the 2 goals, even though I think it was like a second most possession-based team in the Premier League history or something like that. Yeah,
they set up to frustrate Liverpool, and it was working for about an hour. But as soon as Liverpool made those changes, brought on Origi and Diaz, it all changed. That completely won the game.
Merseyside
yeah, it's a brilliant record. Brilliant record. He loves a Merseyside derby, Divock Origi. But Luis Diaz as well was brilliant when he came on. I thought he really changed the game. And for the last half an hour, they got the goal pretty soon after. The subs, and then it was didn't look like Everton were going to get anything really after. I know they had that penalty shout. A lot of people saying it was a Stonewall penalty. I thought it was probably a penalty, but I don't think it was one for me that VAR should be getting involved with. I thought that was fine. I didn't think it was a Stonewall, as people are saying, although I understand why Gordon might feel angry that he wasn't given. Lampard after the game says, you don't get these decisions here. He said if I was Mo Salah on the other end, it's a given. But here,
probably right.
Yeah, he probably is right, considering the amount of penalties Salah gets for similar situations. But I didn't think it was the most Stonewall of penalties. And Everton had a few good counters. They nearly got the job done, but couldn't quite see it out. And now they're in real trouble.
You backing to stay up?
It's getting tighter and tighter. Well, they have much harder games than Burnley, but Burnley, they could also drop points. So it's tough to call, man. It's very tough to call. I think at the moment you've got to say Burnley are favourites. But Everton have the quality to spring a few surprises, I think. You never know.
Yeah, that is true. And, you know, last game of the season against Arsenal. So hopefully
Exactly.
they're scrapping for their lives in that game. But anyway, let's move over to the last game of the weekend. Last night's game, Crystal Palace against Leeds, finished 0-0. Both of us going 2-1 to Palace. So 0 points for each of us there. I mean, I didn't see any of the game last night. Did you watch any of it?
No, I didn't see it. It was, again, a bit similar to Villa, Leicester, 2 mid-table. Well, actually, Leeds, you know, could be dragged back into it if they're not careful, because they're not that far away from Burnley
Isn't
and
it 4
Everton.
points now? 5 points now?
Now they got their draw. It's 4 points from Everton. Same games played. So it's not completely out of the question. They get
No, it's
dragged
not at
into
all.
it. They
Not
need
at
to,
all.
and they got Arsenal coming up as well. Hopefully they can swing a surprise there. But they'll probably take a point. I think Palace were on top for most of the game. Leeds held strong and finished 0-0 from what I saw.
Yeah, when you're looking at the form between Leeds, Burnley and Everton, I mean, Everton's form just doesn't look as convincing as the other two. I mean, the other two have got 3 wins in their last 4 or 5 games.
And they have Chelsea next.
And they've got Chelsea and
Burnley
Leicester as well.
Burnley have Watford and Leeds have...
Palace.
I want to say this is not taking the Palace game into account. Oh, they're 5 points clear. They have Man City next.
5 points on Man City, wow.
They have Man City next.
So Leeds' next 2 games are Man City and Arsenal.
Yeah.
Wow.
So they could
And
definitely
Everton's
drag
next
into
2 games are Chelsea and Leicester.
Yeah.
So this is Burnley's time to really put some daylight between the two.
Potentially. Not daylight, but at least... I don't think... Maybe against Everton. I don't think you put any much daylight against Leeds.
Yeah, maybe not Leeds, but, you know, Watford, you expect Burnley to win that game. And that will put Leeds, suck Leeds further into it.
It would.
But anyway, let's move over to the star men. I went for Cristiano Ronaldo, who got a goal. You went for Mo Salah, who got an assist. I mean, I was Ronaldo, man. If he only would have taken that penalty and that goal as well, that was offside. Anyway,
Brilliant performance though. He was great.
Yeah, it was really. He was their best player. He looked like he was definitely trying to grab that result for Man United, but it wasn't to be. So I get 2 points for there. You get 1 point for there, and we finish this week on exactly how we were. 391 for you, 383 to me. And yeah, we'll see you again for Predict the Prem later on in the week. Thank you everyone for joining us today. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always, come on you Spurs.